Hi, this is our impact project presentation, and my focus was on LGBT approval rates. So, I explored some statistical questions, and my question at the end was, is the proportion of people who say homosexuality should be socially accepted in the US higher than the proportion of people who say homosexuality should be socially accepted in the world? This chart on the right side is just showing the percentages of people who say that homosexuality should be socially accepted in the world, and I think there are 34 total countries that are listed here as part of a survey done by the Pew Research Center. And I think this question will help us see how much progress the United States has made in terms of civil rights and global equity. So, data collection. For my statistical question, the data was collected by Pew Research Center, same survey, where for the world, the average acceptance rate was 52.7%, as shown in the p-value here, and the rate for the United States was 72%. The sample size for the United States was 1,503, and the way they did the collection was they called a random landline of cell phone numbers from the list of U.S. landline and cell phone numbers, and then they only surveyed the person who picked up if they were 18 or older. On the left here, that's directly from the Pew Research Center website on the methodology of how they collected the data for this survey. They asked a lot of questions, but the question that I was looking for was the survey question: agree or disagree, homosexuality should be accepted by society? And that's the one where 72% of surveyed people agreed. So we move on to a hypothesis test for proportions. I wanted to see if the proportion for the United States was significantly higher than the proportion for the rest of the world. So my null hypothesis was p equals 0.527, and my alternative hypothesis was p is greater than 0.527, where p is the true population, the true proportion, right? The plan is to conduct a one proportion z-test. I'm going to stick my conditions here. Here's just the formula for the one proportion z-test, and the z-value ended up being 14.98, which kind of makes sense, as 72% is much higher than 52.7%. And you use the p-value, and you look at a normal standard deviation. A normal distribution. And based on a normal distribution, the probability of getting a z-value of 14.98 or 14.98 standard deviations away from the mean is basically 0. So with the p-value of 0, which is less than the alpha level of 0.01, we can make our conclusion statement, which is that, assuming the null hypothesis is true, the true proportion of people in the United States who believe homosexuality should be accepted by society is 0.52. Well, the probability is basically 0 from a sample size of 1,503. So we reject the null hypothesis at the 99% confidence level and say that there is significant evidence that the proportion of people who believe homosexuality should be accepted in society in the United States is higher than 0.527, which is the global acceptance rate. And so what can we take away from this? Well, the impact is that knowing that the U.S. has a higher homosexuality acceptance rate than the average country is very useful information, because we can transfer that finding into other studies, like where are countries with the most societal equality. You take the fact that U.S. has a higher homosexuality acceptance rate, you can combine that with other things like tests that measure racism and sexism, and then you can look at all of the countries in the world, and then you can group those together and look for trends in which areas of the world are most, quote-unquote, equal. And the reflection for this is that I struggled with this project because I realized quite late that I had forgotten a lot of the steps. and I changed my statistical question a couple times. But generally, it was a good review, and I spent a lot of time reviewing what we've learned this semester, so that was good. And since I'm hoping to go into biology, and I know that inference tests are very vital to sciences like biology, I'm expecting to employ similar research methods in the future. And lastly, my action step is to tell, LGBTQ people that they can contact their school board or some authority figure and inform that LGBTQ inclusive education would really help. Because based on the trends, it seems that education does help. Because we think our education here in the U.S. is a major factor of the increased gay acceptance rates. Thanks for listening.